Welcome. Let's talk about conditions. Now, I know that in the previous video, I said that we were going to talk about conditional operators, but I figured that I should squeeze in a little video to first talk about what are conditions. In the most abstract and vague way that we can look at a condition is to simply say that a condition is a Boolean variable. More importantly, conditions are the basis to every decision that we make on our everyday life, right? So these couple of videos have all been about the selection programming structure. In the previous video, we talked about the relational operators, and we said that every relational operation is just a Boolean value. Now I'm telling you that a condition is a Boolean variable. Boolean variable, well, what do you put in a variable? You put a value. What kind of value? A value of the same data type. So a condition, in a way, is going to be the result of a relational operator. Let's go over an example. So in here I have, should I wear a sweater? So let's take that question. Let's take the fact that we're going to make a decision whether I should wear a sweater today or not. And whether I wear a sweater today or not has to depend upon some condition. So let's pick one condition that makes sense. One condition would be if it's cold, right? If it's cold outside, then I can decide to wear a sweater. If it's not, then I'm going to decide not to wear a sweater. So my condition here, the basis to my decision is it cold? Is it cold? As I mentioned earlier, that's a condition. Therefore, it's going to be a Boolean variable. And if you think about it, is it cold? That's a yes or no answer, right? So it could be cold right now or it could be cold later. It changes, it varies. That's why it's a Boolean variable. And so we have to find what is the Boolean value of this condition by asking the question, is it cold, in a way that we use what? A relational operator. So how could I ask the question, is it cold, by using greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, or not equal to? That's the only 6 that I have in order to formulate one of these conditions. How could I ask the question, is it cold, by using one of these 6? All right, before I tell you, put pause and think about it, because this is an interesting exercise. On a regular day, how do you find out if it's cold? Well, one way that you can find out if it's cold is by looking at the temperature. You look at the weathercast and you see a number and it tells you, hey, it's this temperature in degrees, let's say Fahrenheit. You know if it's cold if you see that number very low, and it's hot if it's very high, right? So how we formulate this condition using a relational operation is by simply doing something like the following. You ask the question, is the temperature under certain degrees? Or in other words, by using the 6 keywords, is temperature less than 60? Let's just say that 60 is the value that I will choose, right? Let's say I said, if it's below 60, I think it's cold, I'm going to wear a sweater. If it's above 60, I don't need a sweater, I can handle it. So I can ask the question, is temperature less than 60, right? The question, or the condition, is it cold, became the same question, but now using a relational operator as, is temperature less than 60? We can code that. We cannot code, is it cold? The computer, what is the computer going to do? Just be like, hey, processor, do you feel cold? It doesn't know that. However, once you tell it 2 values and you say, compare these 2 values, temperature less than 60, once you say that, you say, okay, well, the computer can figure that out and tell you, hey, temperature is indeed less than 60, therefore you should wear a sweater. Or, actually, no, temperature is greater than 60, you should not wear a sweater. Okay, so far so good. Let's do one more example before we wrap up the video. So what is another condition that we could make in order for us to determine whether we should wear a sweater or not? Another condition would be simply, do we have a sweater, right? Because it could be cold outside, but if I don't have a sweater, well, then I cannot wear a sweater. So now let's ask that question. Let's formulate that condition. Do I have a sweater? How would you ask the question, or how would you formulate, do I have a sweater, by using one of the 6 relational operators? Put pause, think about it, try it out, and put it in the comments, and then I'll tell you what it is right now. So it's also very similar, right? You have to compare 2 values. So do I have a sweater could be asked by saying, number of sweaters in my closet greater than 0. Is the number of sweaters in my closet greater than 0? If that is true, if I go to my closet and I see more than one sweater, or I see one sweater or more, then I have a sweater. So the answer is yes. If I don't see any, then it is not greater than 0, then the answer is no. So I can formulate the condition, do I have a sweater, by saying, is number of sweaters in my closet greater than 0? And that's it. Now, what I suggest to you, so you can get some practice, is as you make decisions in your everyday life, like your simple stuff like what do I eat today? Should I go here? Should I send a message to someone? All these things, all those decisions are the basis of a condition. Figure out, well, what is that condition? And then try to convert that condition formulated by using one of the relational operators. Because we humans, we think that way. We think, is it cold? Yes, no. But a computer, that question is not trivial, right? You have to tell it how it has to be able to think, how it has to be able to process the question, is it cold? And the only way it can do that is by comparing values. In this case, the current temperature against some threshold. So take this opportunity as you go throughout your day to just try to formulate these conditions based on some decisions that you're trying to make, just to get some practice. In the next video, we're going to talk about conditional operators. And to give you a little bit of a spoiler, is I gave you 2 conditions, right? One condition was, is it cold? The other condition was, do I have a sweater? What if we wanted to combine both conditions? Because a lot of the times, when you're trying to make a decision, you have many conditions, right? So you could have both conditions. If it's cold and I have a sweater, then I'll put on a sweater, right? If it's not cold and I do have a sweater, that doesn't matter. I'm still not going to wear it because it's not cold outside. So we have to be able to combine these conditions. And to combine these conditions, we use conditional operators. So in the next video, we'll talk about 3, which it's only 3 of them. It's not too bad, but that's really enough to give us some hard time. But we're going to talk about the 3 conditional operators, which are used for us to combine conditions in order for us to really have all the things we need to be able to make these decisions. If you have any question, feel free to leave a comment below. If you like this video, if you found something useful and you don't mind, leave a like. If you're new to this channel, check out the series, check out the channel, and if you like what you see, subscribe, be safe, and peace out.